Have you died? Are you aimlessly traveling along the River of Souls? Wander no more by traveling on the new Shepherd of the Souls by Planar Cruise Lines. The newest ship in our fleet will safely take you in and around the outer sphere before dropping you off exactly where your soul has been judged to go. While you're traveling with us, enjoy our variety of restaurants, get a spirit at one of our many bars, and enjoy shows by the best of planar talent. Next time you die, make sure to die in the lap of luxury with Planar Cruise Lines. Hey, welcome to the Tabletop Travel Guide, the podcast where we explore fictional worlds and civilizations right from the comfort of our own tables. I'm Tyler, and this week I had my players plan a funeral for their dead teammate, and it was interesting. They got a lot of doilies from one of their grandmas.
Doily? Oh, like the fabric, like circle things.
Yeah. They had
that looked lacy.
Yeah,
okay.
she had funeral doilies.
Funeral doilies.
I don't know what those look like, but grandma had them.
Huh. Okay. Well, I'm Ryan. This past week in the campaign, I tried to assassinate 3 diplomats or bureaucrats.
Yeah.
And I was successful in assassinating 2 of them. My players stopped the 3rd, though.
We did. We realized we had breath of life, and we just brought them back, and then worked on some poison for a bit. Clerics are great.
You did not have a good day, though.
Not a good day.
So, and I'm Sam, and I played said cleric, so I got to use lots of medicine checks, and then hilariously, a lot of forensic acumen to figure out dead bodies. I felt a little bit like I was in a CSI episode, and I kept asking Ryan about like what the MO and the motive for the serial killer was, so I had a lot of fun.
I mean, my favorite question was the cause of death decapitation, or was decapitation post-mortem?
Hey, that sounds like something that would definitely be in a Criminal Minds episode.
You bet.
Yeah.
I was in my element.
Yeah.
It's great.
So this is a second part of a 4-part miniseries, a tabletop lore guide. If you have not listened to the previous episode, we talked about the first part of the outer sphere. We're talking about the planes.
Mm-hmm.
And then this week we will continue our travels on our cruise. So if you haven't listened to that one, go listen to that. And if you have listened to it, welcome back. One thing before we start, our favorite segment of things we mispronounced or misspoke.
Uh-oh.
This was a learning after the fact, but we had a bit of a difficulty trying to figure out the pronunciation of Abaddon.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of settled on Abaddon, I think.
We're just very bad with phonetics, we've all learned.
Yeah, reading phonetics is hard.
Yeah.
So I did some research, and apparently it comes from Abaddon is a real word, right? It's from Hebrew, but pronunciation, if it is in English, current English, it's Abaddon.
Abaddon. Okay.
But if you go with the original Hebrew, it is in Hebrew it's Avadon, but it's Abaddon. So
okay,
if you choose to say Abaddon or Abaddon, both are correct.
Okay.
So yeah,
I like it.
And next time I will look up the etymology of all of the words first, but I didn't do it today, so we'll have more.
The problem is I could look that up and like how to pronounce it and everything, I would still say it wrong.
I think I literally found it on a Reddit thread.
Okay.
It wasn't, you look at the etymology and it's like, here's the phonetic spelling. And I'm like, I don't know how to read phonetics.
This is the problem when you're a native English speaker.
I'm a native English speaker.
English makes no sense. None
true.
of the rules make sense.
None of our words are pronounced
Reading it
correctly.
makes no sense.
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
We're just at a disadvantage here.
Yeah.
So now that we all know we can't talk,
yes,
we'll go back to talking poorly about more planes.
Great.
I'm excited.
I'm still dead.
Still
you
dead.
are
Mirior
still dead. I
So
hope
is
that
Acelia.
everyone has recovered from their day at sea, had a nice chill day meandering around looking at things. We are jumping right back into the thick of it today, but as noted from last time, we are on the upswing.
Yay.
So we're going to see some really cool stuff today. I hope everyone is very excited. Our safety rules are all still the same. We don't know what we might encounter out here, so do not jump off the ship and do not jump into anything unknown without doing your knowledge checks first.
Good.
Perfect. I will recall knowledge on ship height to death ratio.
Okay.
I'm already dead. It doesn't matter. I jump
That's
out into the sea.
No, stop it. Get back in the boat. Our first stop today is heaven.
Nice.
And of course, since we are in heaven, our drink of the day today is the Millionaire. And that is a mix of bourbon Grand Marnier, absinthe, grenadine, egg white, and lemon juice. Should feel just a little bit otherworldly, but also still light and refreshing.
I don't know that I've ever had egg white in a drink.
Yeah, I'm like now kind of, we've had multiple with egg whites in it, so now I'm interested in trying an egg white drink.
Prohibition thing. You take the egg white and you like froth it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a foam
Okay.
on top. So it's
Okay.
like kind of like an old school way to make drinks. A lot of the things I pulled were like really old school. So
I like
That's
it.
fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would try it.
Well, maybe we'll try that next time.
yes, so take your drinks. We will step off of the ship and into heaven, the land of goodness and order for souls who led righteous lives. We literally arrive on heaven's shore.
Perfect.
Cool. Great.
So from the shore, the landscape that you can perceive here, there is a mountaintop with an inaccessible peaks. This is where we talk about how certain planes are going to look like they have no end or are finite.
Right.
The inaccessible mountaintop is kind of like that, like, oh, I do not actually know how tall it is.
Right.
We cannot perceive it with our eyes. The mountain also is kind of ginormous and hard to conceptualize because it contains plains and lakes and canyons and terrains that reflect all variations of the creatures that come here. So from like a wide lens, it's a mountain, but the closer you get, you're going to see all these different terrains.
Microbiomes in the mountain.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Very cool. So creatures that call heaven home, so as we are kind of disembarking, who we might see here, these are obviously going to be good outsiders. So again, this is where we don't quite have the terms with the remaster as far as alignment, but historically good aligned creatures are going to be here. Mortals usually are not allowed to travel beyond heaven's shore except for official business.
And that's mortals who are not dead.
Correct.
Okay.
Because remember, dead are petitioners, so this
Yes,
is
they are
actual
not-
mortals.
Yes, if you are dead, you are a petitioner, and then you are not really a mortal anymore. A mortal
if you have
would
plane
be a live
shifted
person.
here
Yes.
for some reason.
If you have come here on business, you might have like a pass to
Yeah.
enter into the other parts of heaven. But if you just show up and want to take in the sights, you have to stay on the shore.
I kind of want a hall pass to heaven.
And here, like several of our other planes, we've got multiple divine beings that kind of have leadership and governance. Oops,
Yeah.
see, English is hard again. So people that you might find here, you might find Erastil, you might find Iomade, you might find Torag. That's
Nice.
kind of like who we're looking at
So-
here.
Good deities.
Yeah, chill bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a bad group to
All the
hang
aunts
out
and
with.
uncles we like.
Yes, with cool war stories
Yeah,
or
Right.
weird stories of the forest. I don't know.
it's fine.
Anyway, so heaven has tiers. So if you think about how we went to hell and there were
Of course it does.
layers of hell that went down, there are tiers of heaven that go up.
Is there a heaven tier for tax collectors who are in over their heads?
We're going to find out.
Perfect.
The first tier is the threshold, which includes the shore that we have landed on, the border fortresses, and the area that's like just within the gates.
Okay.
So Heaven Shore, where we landed, hilariously is also called Heathen Shore, because anyone can show up here, kind of. You don't need that special pass to get past the shore.
I imagine you made it into heaven and they're like, yeah, well, here are all the different places you can go. Don't go to Heathen Shore. It's shady. It's dark side of town.
So Heaven Shore is the largest trade port, and it's the capital of the tier of Threshold.
Okay.
It's the only heavenly city that allows a resident population of foreigners, so aka non-heaven planar outsiders.
Right.
Fair.
is how we get there. So Heaven Shore is where people of good intent from all planes, including the material plane or the universe, as it's now called, can come to petition heaven. They can come to study here and trade for heavenly goods.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So overall, chill spot to start out. We can do some shopping. Everybody get a little
I like it.
souvenir.
So you could be like an expatriate in heaven.
Can you live here? Or is it mostly trade?
You can live on Heaven Shore.
So you could like get like an apartment and like do a summer in heaven.
I'm a snowbird. I leave the universe for heaven during the winters.
As long as you have good intent, they're not gonna like kick you out.
Okay.
That's fair.
This
Okay.
level. The next tier up is Prolera. It is the mustering ground for Crusader armies.
Ooh,
Like
This-
Heaven's Crusader armies?
Yes.
That's metal.
I love it.
It is also where Iomedes' realm is
Of course,
located. It
of
is
course.
called Sword Home.
Nice.
Classic.
It is a peaceful but militant land of castles and keeps.
Yeah. Peaceful.
Who the style of the architecture looks very similar to what Eridan's realm would
That
have
makes
looked
sense.
like.
As the inheritor.
Yes, exactly.
Jeez.
A peaceful warfare realm. So they all like walk around in full suits of armor and like greet each other in knightly ways. Like, oh, sir.
Good to see
sir,
you. Sorry.
Good to see you.
Have lots
Excuse
of
me.
like
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Sorry.
nightly duels hanging out, you know.
Right. Lots of jousting.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
sure.
Hotman.
It sounds kind
Hotman.
of like a medieval times, but maybe less rambunctious. I don't know.
There you
Okay.
go. I like it.
Sounds fun. I would go.
Yeah.
The next tier is Golarion. The petitioners in this area are devoted to duty, learning, and self-purification. So improving minds and spirits. So I feel like this is maybe where you might find a lot of like monk type
Nice.
petitioners. Like it's kind of like that like whole spirit, mind, body, well-being.
Sure.
It's interesting to me that Irori wouldn't be in this realm.
Yeah. I think that's probably more because of like the good evil versus neutral.
That's true, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if with the remaster though, with the alignment thing shifting, if any of like the deity's home planes shift with that
Yeah,
as
change.
well,
Yeah.
because there might be things that then might make more sense if
Yeah.
you take that out of the equation.
Though I guess Axis still makes sense for Irori for a
Yeah.
perfect neutral
Balanced
alignment.
kind of.
Yeah, balance. Oh yeah, all things in balance.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Our next tier is Requies. This is the pastoral region of heaven, home to souls worthy of heaven, but maybe ones that don't want to be here to join holy crusades.
Yeah.
So you might, be good. You might have order, but you might, not be wanting to strap on a sword and go fight things.
You want to
And
settle
that's okay
down
too.
and like just move to the countryside?
Yes.
I lived my life. I don't want to go fight more things.
This tier also has the Great Library of Harmonious Scripture. It consists of 9 shining towers connected at their bases. Within lies all of heaven's collected knowledge. So if you
Nice.
want to go see an epic library and learn some cool things, you can come to the Library of Harmonious Scripture.
That's cool.
Our next tier is Illumis, which is the home of the scholars that are dedicated to understanding heaven's values. They also will do like policy work
That
here.
might be your tax collecting haven.
Ooh. Illumis.
Yes, they
I
are
have.
the center of heaven's moral and philosophical debate.
Tax law.
It could be. It could be. Our next tier is Iutica. This one might also be one that you might want to listen to for your tax collector friend.
Okay, I'm in.
This is the Center for Heaven's Government and Administration.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
It's run collectively by the Council of Vision, which is the head, the heart, and the hand, who represent knowledge, wisdom, love and salvation, and righteous military action, respectively.
Okay.
And here you will also find the Courts of Accord. It's a giant white stone building with gardens around it. It hosts all of heaven's leaders when they need to discuss matters of importance. And just behind it stands the Red Rotunda, an outdoor amphitheater in which demon lords and other powerful evil creatures are publicly executed.
Well, there you go.
Metal.
I like it.
I really like that we're leaning into that. The Red Rotunda. Like,
Red Rotunda.
I guess
palms.
I didn't expect a public execution area in heaven.
Surprise.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that.
Here's our many fancy coffee shops. Here's a place you can going on a holy crusade, and here's where we murder demons.
Yeah, well, you gotta do all things. There's also the Grand Court of Heaven. This is an ornate complex where heaven refines laws and precedents and hears cases appealed from the 77 circuit courts that roam the plains.
That sounds perfect for tax
Oh
collector
my
because that's
gosh.
boring as crap.
77 circuit courts.
From across all plains.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
sounds like a great time.
Okay.
The final tier is called the Garden, and it is a place of mysteries that even the deities don't completely understand. The small garden floats unattended and uninhabited above the rest of the mountain. So you can kind of see it, but
Just as there.
nobody goes there.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
mysteries.
Yeah.
Other places that we might see in the realm of heaven while we are wandering around. The Chambers of Repentance is a network of cells deep within the mountain that holds fiends and other wicked individuals. But they're the ones that heaven thinks are capable of redemption.
Okay.
So they get to not be murdered in the Red Rotunda. They get to hang out in the cells and hopefully work towards redemption.
Oh,
Fair.
very exciting.
Maybe,
Yay?
if you're into
Okay.
that, I guess.
Yeah.
There's also Forge Heart, which is Torag's realm. It's not part of any specific tier, but it exists rather as a series of caverns within the mountain. So here, souls of devoted smiths rejoice in an eternity of challenging and satisfying labor.
That's kind of cool.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're into that, yeah.
I guess. Yeah. If you enjoy farming and you want to keep doing it, in heaven.
Yeah, and then the Summerlands are wide swaths of wilderness, and that is Erastil's realm. And there are like some fields and small villages
Right,
and things in there, but as he is a god of the wilderness, you can find his wilderness here too.
I definitely said farming and I meant blacksmithing.
Oh, I thought you were
Last
talking
time.
about the other pastoral region.
Yeah. I don't know where I ended up.
It's fine.
Anyway.
We got
Heaven
it.
If you like to do
vast.
labor in some form.
Yes. If you want to, do good and work hard, come to heaven.
There you go.
Infinitely fulfilling labor.
I like it.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is heaven as we exit. You can see the mountain retreating in the distance. We are getting back on the boat and headed to our next mostly good realm.
I like it.
We are now approaching Nirvana.
Okay.
All right.
The drink of the day for Nirvana is the Hedgerow Royale, which is sloe gin, cherry brandy, prosecco, a sprig of rosemary served over ice.
That sounds amazing.
Oh, more gin. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
out.
Two types of people. I love gin, so that sounds great.
All of my drinks are like drinks that your grandpa would drink in 1930, but it's fine. That's what I like.
am your grandpa in 1930, apparently. I like it.
So Nirvana, as we approach the great wilderness, the sanctuary of enlightenment. It is a realm of good, as we're still using alignment terms. It has rolling fields, lush forests, deep blue seas, tall mountains, hidden valleys. It is home to intelligent animal petitioners, animalistic agathons, shining angels, and other creatures of pure good. What some of those things are, you might ask. An agathon is a race of outsider. They incorporate animal features into their forms, and the vast majority appear as anthropomorphized natural beasts.
Okay.
Okay.
So Nirvana is kind of like wild good.
Yeah.
If you
Okay, yeah.
think about it.
That makes sense.
Kind of that way. There are angels here as well. So angels are on all three of like the good aligned planes, so you can find them in heaven, but the most reside here
Oh, interesting.
in Nirvana.
Yeah. Okay.
The souls here that become the petitioners of Nirvana are called the cleansed, and they often transform into the purest animal form for their afterlife.
Oh, I like
I know.
that.
So you could like pop up here and be like, I'm a cool bunny.
Man, I could see Acelia being like, I just want to be a cat
Right?
hanging out. I'm
Maybe.
just gonna go
I've done enough taxes in my life. I'm gonna go be a cat.
go be a cat, hang out.
Other cool creatures that you might see here, moon dogs.
Nice.
They are nomadic guardians that roam in packs and protect Nirvana from interlopers.
Oh,
There are
Nice.
also roselings, which are enlightened plants.
enlightened plants.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Plants who
So-
have reached enlightenment. What up?
In the wilderness, obviously, we have some cool outsiders here. Again, leadership, multiple deities are here. Ones that you might find. Kurgis, who is the god of bravery and competition. He's the son of Desna and Caden Kellyan.
Nice.
He's not one that
Oh.
we talk about a ton.
He's the one who's got I'm pretty sure an arm flexing is his
Yes,
holy
yes.
symbol.
Nice.
Quizong, who is the master of medicine, god of healing, magic, and medicine. He's here. Sarenrae, the dawn flower, the goddess of healing, redemption, the sun. This is her divine realm. She's
Makes
kind of like
sense.
the biggest one here.
Yeah.
And then Shaylin, who beauty, art, music. Again.
Mm-hmm.
Those all check out.
Yeah. So Blossom Heart is Shaylin's divine realm. Gardens, studios, amphitheaters, anything artsy you might want to do, we can do there. You will also see Dragon Mane Mountain, above which is Sarenrae's divine realm, which is called Everlight, and it's always filled with sunlight.
Nice.
And interestingly enough, no lies or deception can take place in Sarenrae's realm.
Huh.
And it's visible throughout all of Nirvana as a gleaming sun in the sky.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like a little White House kind of.
Yeah, it's neat. And then you have the Field of Champions, which is also known as Kyrgyz's field. This is his realm. It's an enormous carnival of games of agility, endurance, skill, and strength, where petitioners and mortals who come to visit can compete for eternal acclaim.
And I don't think Acelia would want to be there, but that seems cool. I'd like to visit.
When you want to when a bro wants to challenge another bro to some carnival games.
Yeah.
I envision it looking like the Highland Games, just all the time.
Yeah.
Like I can throw a hay bale higher than you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I have a couple characters who'd probably like to go there after they die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Nirvana.
Nice.
The wilderness.
I like so far, this
second half of the cruise.
The second half of the cruise is far nicer than the first half of the cruise. I don't know why, it's just very nice.
Yes, we can linger a little longer in some of these fun places, maybe join a joust or a competition of strength
Yeah.
while we're here.
Yeah.
I like it.
From here, we will get back on the boat though,
Okay.
and we will head to our final good aligned
Okay.
plane, which is Elysium.
Elysium.
The drink of the day for Elysium is the Tequila Mockingbird, which is a muddled jalapeno slice, 3 watermelon cubes, tequila blanco, lime juice, and agave.
That sounds
Oh, I'm in for this.
that sounds real good.
That sounds awesome.
Also delicious.
A little sweet, a little spice,
Oh,
a
that
lot
sounds
of lime.
good.
I'm in.
And sweet and spice is a good description of Elysium. It is the promised land and the land of heroes.
Ooh.
Ah.
Okay.
By day, a golden sun shines down upon emerald fields and blue oceans, while at night there's tons of stars and a silver moon.
That's pretty cool.
It's
Yeah.
like ridiculously untamed gorgeous all the time. Nothing in Elysium knows restraint, so think of like mountains being taller than they should be, oceans being deeper than anything that you might encounter in the universe. It also, interestingly, because of that, has some of the greatest extremes in elevation in all of the outer sphere.
Interesting.
Mountain climbers are
Yeah.
big
Right,
on this.
yeah.
Okay.
Extreme sports.
Elysium is the
Extreme
most
sports.
welcoming to mortals. It's a little bit more chaotic in nature, so it's less rigid than a lot of like the other planes. So mortals have a easier time coming here. Creatures that you may see here in Elysium. So we still have angels. We also have azadas, which are celestial manifestations of freedom. I actually thought these were like the coolest things about Elysium. They take different forms and they represent different kinds of freedom. So like there's an azada of like the wind, if you think about like the freedom of wind, because it can move where it wants to. So anything that you can kind of define from that.
It's a kind of metaphysical.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's
That's
still like
kinda cool.
creatures. They're one like thing that is the same like for all of them is that in general they are passionate and loyal
Nice.
creatures.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The petitioners of Elysium are called the Chosen. They manifest into idolized versions of their mortal bodies. So
Okay.
if you just want to look like yourself, but a little extra fine, that's what you look
I'm
like here
myself.
in Elysium.
2 inches taller.
You can also find the Elysian Titans. So we talked about the Titans previously
Right.
in the Outer Rifts, how they were thrown down because they rebelled against the deities.
Because it didn't go well.
It didn't
Right.
go well.
The Elysian Titans are the Titans who refused to participate in that rebellion. And they reside here training aspiring champions.
Nice. They picked the right side.
Yeah.
They did.
Okay.
They did. They get a cooler hangout space.
Yes.
So other divinities that you'll find here. So Callistria has her divine realm. Caden Kellyan, Desna, Gorum, Milani. The Elven Pantheon in general hangs out here.
That's good company.
Yeah.
That's a fun company.
Again, this
is a
one
fun-
sounds pretty cool.
I imagine this is probably one of the most fun cruise stops too.
Yeah.
Just to hang out with.
For sure.
Yes, you can go deep sea diving. You can climb a mountain. You can go train with a Titan. We have lots of
The
excursions to offer
would be
here.
fantastic.
I'm getting just like super strong ancient, like ideal ancient Greek classical, like
Yeah.
vibes.
I like it.
So some places of note as we are going around Elysium. The Clashing Shore is Gorham's domain. It's a massive battlefield that stretches along the border between Elysium and the shores of the Maelstrom. So if you want to, get some good fighting in, you can go there. There is also Golarion, which is the domain of the Elven Pantheon. It's really hard to distinguish it from forests and fields, but the deeper into the realm you go, the more sculpted and engineered things start to look. So think of it as kind of hidden in plain sight type of a thing.
Big hedge maze.
Yes,
Okay.
a little bit. This is where Callistria's domain is. It is called the Garden of Deceit and Delight,
I like it.
which sounds correct for her.
It does. I wouldn't put her in the Elven Forest area, but maybe.
I believe she is part of the
Oh.
Elven Pantheon.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We just talk about Callistria in every other context that I
Right.
forget that she's an elf.
Right.
Yep. The next realm that we will come to is Hero's Heart. This is the realm of Caden Kellyan. At the center is the city of Reveler's Rest, which, of course, has many inns and taverns.
Cecilia's going.
Literally, you want to get drunk, come here.
Yes, get drunk and party. You can definitely do in Hero's Heart. The outskirts of Hero's Heart are known as the Fields of Battle, and that's where warriors can test themselves.
You want to get drunk and go fight somebody?
Yeah.
Yep, that sounds right. That sounds like
Elysium's
Caden
so
Kellyan.
cool.
The next place that we come to, the Starlit Grotto. This is a subterranean realm filled with twinkling lights. It's beautiful, but it can also be dangerous, as the bottommost reaches of the grotto are the closest to the outer rifts.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
So
don't fall.
Yeah, don't go.
very, very cool, great picture-taking opportunity, kind of like some fancy spelunking, just don't spelunk too far.
Don't go to the edge.
Yep.
Then we have the Boundless Azure Ocean, which commonly is just called the Boundless. It's the largest expanse of water here in Elysium. The skies above have numerous flying castles and other aerial structures,
Sweet.
right? And in many areas, the borders of Boundless don't have beaches or land. Instead, they kind of flow into the Maelstrom. So it's again one of those the borders don't totally make sense
Right.
Yeah.
to conceptualization.
So far, Elysium has been just the coolest.
Yeah, from a me perspective, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's also one of my favorites. There's also some really cool spots that I think would be neat to hang out in.
Oh yeah.
Well, and I feel like it just kind of goes. It's just kind of different than the stereotype, I guess. It
Yes.
goes because I feel like we all have a conception of heaven, right?
Mhm.
That makes sense. I think Nirvana as a kind of nature wild, that makes sense as well. And Elysium just kind of like the world of heroes. It feels more. It makes sense to be there as an adventurer. Like we always play adventurers, so it makes sense that this is the boundless freedom and
Right,
heroic
the
place.
hooks are all there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It makes me think of Valkyries
Yeah.
from mythology and that type of afterlife vibe.
Right. I love it.
Nice.
So we'll get back on the boat from Elysium. I know, leaving, it's
Tough
unfortunate.
to get back on the boat. For
Yeah,
that one.
I imagine this is one where you look out on your deck after you get back and you see people sprinting towards the boat as
Yeah.
the dock's going up.
Oh no.
Elysium is the night where you're like, huh, those people were sitting next to us at dinner last night. Where did they end up? Oh yeah, they missed the boat.
They're still getting drunk in Caden Kellyan's bars. Whoops.
You joke, but that does happen on cruises. That has literally happened to us.
It's true.
Where we've looked
Not
at it.
we
not-
did not get left behind.
No, but we looked at a table next to us and been like, they were here last night. Oh, they weren't here today. They missed the boat.
Whoops.
Yep.
Yep, so wave to everybody that accidentally did a too long excursion on Elysium.
But if you're going to get stuck somewhere, Elysium's the way to go.
Right.
That's true.
Better there than the abyss.
Yeah.
All right, I think you will also like our final stop on the Outer Sphere cruise tour. We will be ending in the Maelstrom. The drink of the day is the Blue Hawaii, which is blue curacao, rum, vodka, and pineapple juice. Also
That sounds
delicious.
amazing.
That sounds really good.
Let's just make all of them.
The Maelstrom is also known as the Borderlands and the Cerulean Void. It is a realm of boundless chaos. It's a void that churns with land and sea and everything that could exist in between those two things.
Great.
It borders all of the outer planes, even as it seeks to devour them. You can picture it as a churning ocean with the borderlands serving as a broken ring around the perimeter.
It's kind of like like enthalpy or like erosion incarnate.
Yes,
Okay.
I think of it as like
Or entropy.
if you
right.
if you picture the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie,
Yeah.
when they have all like the boats out there
And the whirlpool.
and the
Yeah.
then there's like the islands around. That's kind of how
Yeah,
I
okay.
picture
That
the
makes sense.
Maelstrom, except maybe prettier, because like I feel like that looked rough and it was like storming the whole time.
Yeah.
So that, but cooler. Creatures that you will find here in the Maelstrom: the Einherjar. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly.
Einherjar.
There's a J and an H, and
Okay.
That's it.
it sounds, I feel like
That sounds right.
it's maybe Nordic, but I am not quite sure how to pronounce that word. Anyway, these are the manifestations of fallen champions who perished in righteous religious wars. They either fight on their own or they serve various gods or pantheons throughout the Maelstrom. They are selected for their role in the afterlife by Valkyries.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so we'll find Valkyries here. They formed from petitioners risen from the souls of the greatest soldiers.
It's awesome.
Nice.
So the Maelstrom's also a little metal, too,
Yeah, it's
in a
awesome.
fun kind of way. You can also find proteins here.
I think it's proteins.
You think it's what?
I think it's proteins.
Proteins.
I mean, you can probably find proteins as well.
I like proteins. That makes more sense. They are a serpentine race. They are a living extension of the Maelstrom. Groups of them will routinely attack other planes' borders. So this is why several of the other planes started having barriers and,
Sure.
you know, people to protect them.
Stinking
because
proteins.
It's always
the
it's always
proteans.
snakes. It's always the
It's always the
serpents.
snakes.
And then you have the Maelstrom's petitioners. These are known as the Shapeless. The proteans themselves predate when mortal souls started coming here. So while sometimes petitioners will join the ranks of proteans, that's less common. So some of our other planes, it was kind of an easier road for petitioners to become whatever the
Denizens,
creature is on that plane. So as a result, it's relatively rare for one of the Shapeless to become a protean. Most of them are either chosen by the Valkyries for ascension into the Einherjar. If they aren't, then they become a chaos beast.
Oh.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a roll of dice here, but I think you probably would want to be chosen by a
Right.
Valkyrie if
Probably.
you end up here.
Yeah.
Right.
Several divinities also call the Maelstrom home. The most fun one, I think, is Besmara, who's the pirate goddess.
I love Besmara.
who we talked about before.
Riptide.
Yes.
Morgan Riptide, follower of Besmara.
We'll hopefully end up here. So obviously the pirate goddess makes tons of sense to be
She's
on
sailing
like
around.
wild, untamed ocean. Yes, of course. You can also find Hanspur, who's a demigod of rivers, travels, and smugglers. He is more worshipped in the river kingdoms. You can also find Nadiri, who's the goddess of tragedy and drowning.
Oof.
Yeah,
So-
she used to be a handmaiden of Shaylin and then gave some advice to some young lovers who did a Romeo and Juliet,
Oh.
which was not her intention. So she then kind of moved away from that and now is the goddess of tragedy and
Yikes.
and
Oh.
drowning as a result.
Yikes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a little rough. You can also find Nethys here. The Orc Pantheon also calls
Cool.
the Maelstrom home, as does Savannah, the goddess of illusions and mystery,
Makes sense.
and Eudurcius, who is the god of serpent folk, which makes sense
Yeah,
since we
that's
have the
Right. The
proteans.
serpents.
Yep.
Yes. So some places that you can find here in the Maelstrom, it's not just swirling water. So Nethys's divine realm looks like a massive slab of stone the size of a planet, just jutting up from the Cerulean Void. And it's capped with a bowl-like mesa that has an immense desert.
That's a statement.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like he's like the god that would make the statement. I mean, he's like, I'm very smart and also a little nuts.
Yeah, like I'm I'm insane and genius, and here's my slab with a desert. And you're like, I don't get it. And it's like, it's modern art.
Yes.
Figure it out.
Yes. The epitome of modern art.
I like to think that he canonically somehow runs the internet site off of that as well.
Archives of Mythos is actually the slab in the mouth.
Just like
Yes.
in a little corner, there's like a little bowl that like the internet lives in.
It's like, I can't. Okay. The next place we will come to is the city of Bescarl, which is home to a unique group of outsiders, those that break from the shackles of their typical alignment and associated moral constraints.
Okay.
So if
Oh.
you're like, look, I'm not following any of that,
I don't ascribe to your labels.
I'm going to go over here.
The hipsters of the world.
Okay.
The city is home to numerous clashing ideologies, and the mix of outsiders somehow still work together to defend their city from the constant erosion of the maelstrom and the threat of aeons, which we talked about earlier, who are all about structure and order. And the aeons show up here trying to return things to their proper alignment. And so this particular city has a lot of people fighting against that. They're
Sure.
like, nope, we love the chaos. We're good.
I was born in it.
I was born. Well, we adopted the chaos.
We also have the city of Galisemni.
Galasemni?
Sure. The city of the celestial and the damned.
Oh.
It's a great shining jewel of stability, actually.
Oh, okay.
Safety and interplanar commerce within the maelstrom. It is a moving city. It kind of meanders through the borderlands. It's an island that's dragged along by the maelstrom's currents.
Floating city.
Interesting.
Mhm,
Yeah, that's
mhm.
cool.
Interestingly enough, in the city, there is a place known as the Letho Wall. Rumor holds that the wall grants a person's greatest wish if they carve their name into a blank spot on the wall. However, spoiler,
There's always
I'm
a
going to
catch.
tell you what the wall actually
There's always
does.
a
So if
catch.
you want to know, just hum to yourself for 30 seconds. The wall actually does more than that. As it grants the desire, it also takes and devours. So when a creature adds their name to the wall consumes the name and erases all traces of the writer from history, including the writer's own memories. So you don't
so
remember
you
who
get
you
it.
are.
But you got what you wanted?
You got what you wanted, but now you don't remember what it was. And you don't know who you are, and nobody else remembers you either.
Brutal.
So when people see this wall with all the names on it, it could be someone that you knew, but they've been erased from your consciousness.
Right. Oof.
Ooh.
Brutal.
So when the wall just randomly appears in different parts of this city, it's ominous, right? Like people get like there's something else about it. So like whole like neighborhoods will just like move away until it goes away.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. Ugh.
Huh.
Gross.
Yeah, so be careful. Don't put your name on any walls that you don't know what they're doing.
That's the vandalism you don't want.
We can also find in the Maelstrom the Palace of Love Eternal. This is Nadiri's divine realm.
Mhm.
It's a place of gardens and groves that hosts forever young couples who
Aw.
stroll eternally. However, there's something like a little bit odd about it. So we heard about her backstory. So there's all of this beauty, but also there's this underlying feeling of like dissatisfaction and restlessness. If you linger here too long, you will start to feel like there's something that you have left behind or forgotten, and you can't like shake that feeling. So just I don't know. There's some really cool things here in the Maelstrom, even if
Yeah.
it is a little bit crazy.
Everything feels like it has a catch in the maelstrom.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. The realm of the Orc Pantheon is called Volkorgoth. It's a great valley with a blood red river.
Perfect.
Classic.
Yeah,
Love it.
so if you see that, snap your picture. I don't know if you want to hang out. As we close our tour of the Maelstrom, we will look at the Antipode, which is also called the Drain. So if you think about that giant whirlpool, the Antipode is where everything is sucking in. It's the vortex that exits
Mm-hmm.
the Maelstrom. We talked about when we first got on the cruise, the River of Souls that takes souls and essence from the universe into the outer sphere. You can think of that as an entry point, and you can think of the Antipode as the exit. So all of that energy that has come in to the outer sphere also has an exit where it recycles back into positive energy
Oh.
out through the Antipode. So we've kind of come in a whole circle. We've gone all the way around the sphere,
Yeah.
and we can exit back out as positive energy into
Huh.
the
Okay.
universe.
It's kind of cool. It's just like the cyclical nature of an entire group of planes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
and it's
so
like a
they
big
all-
closed loop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it all interacts together.
Nice. Cool.
And with that, we have concluded our tour of the outer sphere. And the real question is, where do we think our friends need to go? I am giving you the power of Pharasma here, and you're going to judge your characters and tell me which plane they are going to.
I think Acelia is going to go to heaven in Ludica. Is that?
Okay.
I think, she's not a evil person. I think she just kind of got in over her head. But like, I feel like if maybe she wanted to be in government work and do good stuff and then just got stuck as a tax collector instead.
Yeah.
I can see her going to heaven and being like, this is where I'm called. And, one of the maybe 77 circuit courts. So yeah, I think heaven and Ludica is where Acelia would like to find herself.
Miriam is going to Axis.
Okay,
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Is he going to hang out with Bree at the Clockwork Tower?
Oh, yeah. We're going to go to the Clockwork Tower. We're going to invent stuff. And
Nice.
We're going to hang out there and probably get called on to fight and be like, no. All I do is I invent. I don't want to fight.
I like
Excellent. Well, I'm glad that we were able to find some places for people to go.
Planar Cruise Lines really did what they said they were going to do.
I mean, as advertised.
As advertised. They escorted us right there.
Yes, I hope you will both be joining me for our next set of stops in the plains. We will be headed to the Inner Sphere. The Inner Sphere, just to give a little bit of a highlight, is going to be those elemental planes. So
Nice.
we are going to be unpacking a lot from Rage of Elements for this, and also the universe, which is the material plane. So we'll kind of touch on how all of those interact as well.
I'm excited.
Nice. I'm excited. Yes, and yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you for taking us on this cruise.
Yes.
And thank you to our characters for coming along with us. And we're glad we found their final resting spot.
Yeah, you really threw us for a loop there, but we made it work.
Does Planar Cruises also go to the Inner Sphere, or are we hopping cruise lines?
It's a surprise.
Oh boy.
Okay.
So
we'll
you'll see when you show up next week what kind of trip we will be taking.
I'm excited. Okay. Cool. Well, we hope that all of our listeners will continue on this trip with us. We hope you've enjoyed this tiny mini series so far. We originally said we were going to do 4 weeks in a row. We realized with our schedules that wasn't exactly going to work out. So enjoy these 2 weeks for our Planar Cruise. We are going to take a week off next week, and then we're going to come back to have 2 more weeks in a row to talk about the Inner Sphere. So instead of 4 weeks, it'll be 2, 1 off, and 2 again. So, again, thanks. If you are interested in reaching out to us, you can do so in a few ways. You can DM us on Instagram at Tabletop Travel Guide. You can always email us at tabletoptravelguidepodcast@gmail.com. Remember, we do try to post pictures and stuff to our Instagram and our website, tabletoptravelguide.com. I think we might have gotten a little bit behind on that, but we'll get them there. And yeah, if you're enjoying this podcast, tell your friends. Best way to spread the word is word of mouth. Give us a rating. That makes us feel good. So, but yeah, tell your friends about us and feel free to reach out. We love hearing from everybody. So till next week when we continue our mini series in the plains. Safe travels, everybody.
Safe sailing.